Can you demonstrate some of the ConDoc tools too?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually a great model for that because this one is 100% completely set up using the ConDoc tools. So this model, this is an active project. So we just did all the measuring and then designed this one yesterday. And now this is the SketchUp model that we just brought in. And I actually have not run the ConDoc tools in here, so let's just get to work on it. So the biggest thing here is you want to have everything needs to be layered. The model needs to be really well organized and well layered. So by that I mean you want to group your entire roof and then put it on a layer called architectural roof. And you know what, this one I might not have it far enough along to really make a good example. So I might open up something else here. Yeah, I haven't quite paid real close attention to some of my groupings, so I just need to spend a little bit of time to get those back in order. Let's give it a shot. This is a good test of the tools, right? So, so the ConDoc tools, I already did all of the measuring. You can see that the existing conditions on this particular project, we'll go and look at that. So Brightman Design Studios for Andy on Pontiac. All right, so we have our existing conditions model. So we'll take a quick look at that. All right, so this is what that house looks like as it is right now. So we went out and measured this house, and then if you've seen in my book the documenting an existing building or expedited as-builts, you can see if we turn on our background layer, we've got our background. These are our field notes, just like presented in the book. And that allows us to create these really accurate 3D models in SketchUp. And so we got all of this layered, ran the existing conditions for ConDocs, and now we're into our proposed conditions model. So you do a save as and call this proposed conditions. Okay, so now the tools, what we need to do, we've got perspective 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we need to run the plan generator. So I'll activate that. And the plan generator asks me, what is your project type? So we're on a renovation project. We're in the proposed conditions model. This particular model has 2 floors, and the ground floor is at 0, and I forget now, let's see, we're just going to call the ground floor 0, and then our floor height, we'll call it 9 feet. We'll just call this one 9 feet. Now, the plans that we're going to create are, let's just create a construction plan for now. I'll get into some of this. We'll just run it all. Roof plan. We don't need reflected ceiling plan or furniture plan. So what the ConDoc tools do, they really save a ton of time. If you read my book, you'd know you have to add a scene, you got to set the style, add a section plane, name the scene perfectly. You got to do a lot of steps to make this thing happen. Well, I've just answered all these questions. When I click Setup Project, always a good idea to save before you do anything. We'll click Setup Project, and look at all those scenes that it just pumped out. It added a handful of layers to my model. So it added construction plan, demolition plan, and each one of these scenes has different layers associated with it. I know just from using the tools quite a bit that first section plane is not necessary. So let's just make our first floor section plane active, and I'll just go double check, you know, it's cutting through my doors, my windows. It looks like it's sitting just about where it needs to be. I need it just a little bit higher. You can see how it didn't quite catch those windows. So we'll just get that set up. And then I'll make my next section plane active and just kind of take a lap around here. And that looks, it appears to be cutting everything where, actually we have a window on this side. So there you go. We didn't quite grab these windows. So that's all you need to do to make sure that those things are set up. And then let's look at our scene. So construction plan heavy. Save this. A few things. This is looking good. I know that this little reveal or this bump out, that's going to go on the detail layer. And So in general, that's pretty close. Construction plan light. All of our doors and windows are on there. And then we've got our hatch A and our hatch B. So let's jump over into layout, and we just want to create our drawings, which I haven't quite done for this project, so we'll just get this done now. Let's see. So there's a question in there. Is the plan generator one of the plugin tools? So if you were to go to sucondoc.com and purchase the ConDoc Tools, the plan generator is in fact one of the tools included with the ConDoc Tools. So the other two tools are the elevation tool and the section tool. I'll show you those in just a moment here. So let's grab our template. We've got this 11 by 17 presentation style. And then instead of inserting the SketchUp model and stacking the viewports manually, we've created these ConDoc scrapbooks. So now I can go to my construction plan, level 1, and I think 1/4 of an inch fits pretty well on here. So we'll drop that plan on there. We'll add a page, go to level 2, and add a 1/4 inch plan. All right. So now all we need to do is go to File, Document Setup, References, and you'll see on the References page, it says relink this file. So I need to relink this to this Pontiac proposed conditions. I'll do that. Now everything's just going to kind of cycle into place, ideally. All right, so then let me stretch this out, and I just need to kind of find my geometry within that viewport. And you can see that with the ConDoc tools, we have our dynamic hatch is happening. We're pretty close on here. Like I said, there's a couple of things that I haven't done yet. I can tell you that one of the things I haven't done yet is assign my levels. So I'm getting some of my levels, you know, I'm getting level 1 and 2 kind of fighting with each other. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to bounce back into SketchUp, go to All On Design, and we'll go to our camera perspective. Okay, so basically this this upstairs here, that needs to be defined as level 2. And you can see that my plan generator actually added those layers for me. So what I need to do is to take my windows. So I'm going to cut my windows and put those into this level 2 container. So I select the level 2, I assign that conceptual level 2, and let's hide that. All right, so that looks good. And then we've got level 1. Stairs I typically just kind of leave floating. This guy here, that one looks like it's all correct. So let's go to level 1. And then we'll go to File Save. And before we head back into layout, let's go to our elevation tool. So imagine if you had to create an elevation manually, you'd have to go to Camera, Standard Views, Front. You'd have to go to your styles and go and select and pick one of your styles. You'd have to go to your shadow settings and get those adjusted. You'd have to go to Camera, Parallel Projection. And so there's a lot of steps. And then you'd have to go into your scenes and click on Add Scene, and then you'd have to name the scene. So everything that I just named off is all completed with one click using the elevation tool. So watch this. I activate the tool. I just put it on the front elevation and click. And now it renamed it Elevation 6. The reason it did that is because we already added elevations and deleted them. So no big deal, though. We'll just go back and rename those. So what I'll do is orbit around, add another elevation right here.
God, that is so cool.
Add an elevation right here. And then add one more elevation right here. All right, so then I'm just going to go back into my scenes. I'm going to call this one Elevation 1. I'll call this one Elevation 2. And I'll call this one Elevation 3. And Elevation 4. Looks like I didn't quite get my Elevation 2. You always got to hit enter to lock in that name. Okay, so it looks like we're good to go there. So let me just save this, and then let's hop back into layout. Let's see. And then somebody's asking, is there a way to modify and use ConDoc with additional layers? Absolutely. This whole system, it's not like this super dynamic thing that's happening. It's more of like it's just shooting out all the information you need. And then at that point, you're not going to bend or break anything by adjusting your layers. So if you have another layer that you want to use, certainly you could go in and manually say, like, on construction plan heavy, I want this other layer turned on. Well, you just go in there and turn it on, no big deal. Because once you set up your project, you're really kind of moving on from the ConDoc tools, and then just sticking with the model organization that we've set up for that. Okay, and then we've got it's a way to locate them all at the same point. So that's a really good question. I actually just did a video response on SketchUp Exchange. So let me hop back into layout, and I'll point you in the right direction of of where to find that tutorial. But certainly it is very possible to line these up, and I'll show you how to do that here as well. Okay, so I've made some changes. I go to document setup, and I'm going to update my my reference. Always got to make sure you save that in SketchUp. All right, so now this is our next plan here. We'll just kind of get that set up. Okay, so things are starting to look a little bit better, and I can tell you the main reason for that is because now at least we have levels turned on and off. So we're not going to have everything all stacked up on each other. So actually, that's just about it. Looks like I got to add a few more doors to my design and maybe tweak a few of these 2D graphics, but in general, it appears that most everything has fallen into place as I want it to. Good. Okay, so then we can go and add a page. We'll go to our elevations. And then we go to elevation. We've got elevation 1. We're going to do, let's just do 1/8 inch for these. So I'll add elevation 1 at 1/8 inch. And then we'll go to our next elevation and add elevation 2. Go to our next elevation 3 and add that one. And elevation 4. There we go. And then we just need to refresh that model. So I'll go to document setup. It says relink this file. I just need to relink that to my proposed conditions. And now I'll see my elevations drop in there. So the ConDoc tools it's not really an excuse or a way to get around learning SketchUp and layout, but it is a way to drastically expedite the process of creating really polished presentations in SketchUp and layout. So I've been working on a blog post, and I've found that essentially you can eliminate 75% of the clicks that it takes to create a 2-plan, 4-elevation, 2-section set. And if you had more plans, more elevations, and more sections, you're going to really, really start to save a ton of time. So I would just kind of stretch these guys around. So now we're set up there. So you just kind of build your set like as a cartoon set. It just makes it really easy to get your pages laid out. And once you've done this, you can go back into SketchUp. I'll just save this to my, we'll just save this as our Pontiac file since we're working on it. So this one is going to be called our proposed conditions. All right. Okay. So just a quick tip. I'm going to point you in the right direction of the tutorial I created. It's like 10 minutes on how to align all this stuff. But essentially what I would do is I just pick a corner that I know, like let's say this corner right here. Look, I'll show you the right way. I'll add a layer. I'll call that layer guides. And then I'll draw a line. And I want those lines to be something kind of drastic, so we'll just draw a line like this. And so I just kind of throw my guides on there, and then I make my guides a shared layer. So it's shared across all pages. I'll hold Control and make a copy at 90 degrees. And then let's just scoot this straight down and snap it to that corner. So I know that that bottom right corner of my garage, that's where it needs to sit. So then I can take this drawing, take my precise move grip, snap it to the bottom right corner, and then click and drag that guy in and snap it to my guides. So it's just kind of a manual way of creating your guides, and then I just need to be aware and go back and turn off my guides on every page. By default, guides or a layer is turned on every page. So you just got to go through and just make sure that that's turned off everywhere you don't want to see it. And then when you're ready to use it again, you just turn on your guides layer, and you can kind of stretch those things around. Cool. So then just a quick mention of the SketchUp Exchange. I just posted in there. Let me just search for, what do we call this? It's on our SketchUp forum, I think. Aligning. Let me see. I'm just going to search for align and viewports. Multiple stacked viewport alignment. That sounds. So if you search for that, there's a couple things happening. A couple of them here. I think it was more like align drawings. Let me search for that. Align drawings. Okay, aligning plans from different scenes. This is the thread. And then if you go here, I did a 10-minute tutorial where I just kind of threw out every possibility for aligning different scenes in SketchUp, and then also aligning and stacking those viewports in LayOut, and then also basically what we just did, showing how to make sure that you get everything aligned on your page. All right, so then I'll post this link. I'm going to post this video somewhere, I guess on the forum, but I could send an email